One. It's Friday, the 3rd of September 2021, and today we've got episode 20 of From the Resort podcast. Today we have Arndt from Erik's Fish and Chips, who I met not too long ago at a Queenstown Chamber event. Welcome along to the podcast, Anna.
Great to be talking to you today, Tim.
Yeah, thanks for being a guest. It's been a couple of months since we had one of these, so where we like to usually start, I guess, is early life. Whereabouts yourself, whereabouts were you born, and what was sort of family life like growing up where you were?
Oh, right. Well, I was born in the King Country in the middle of the North Island on a farm. And I was the eldest I've got 3 younger sisters. So it was very much a kind of isolated town, was probably 3/4 of an hour drive away. And yeah, just grew up good old, King Country farming lifestyle, which I loved.
Like cattle, what sort of farming?
Sheep and cattle farm.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
And all daughters, so, and you're the eldest. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But
do all your sisters still live in New Zealand, or those moved out?
all my family's still living in New Zealand, which is very
excellent.
great.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're the eldest, and obviously you're obviously the I guess the responsible sister. I'm the eldest child as well. It's one of those things where your younger siblings obviously follow your lead quite a bit. So what sort of things did you get up to as a child? What were your hobbies, and what did you like to sort of get up to, either on the farm or out and about?
Oh, we just had a great time as kids, basically playing on the farm, building huts, smoking in the hay barn, stealing Dad's cigars and making huts, taking picnics all around the farm. We had a great time as kids, really, just a really kind of free, obviously there was no one else around, riding bikes down the road, playing in puddles, yeah, very kind of.
You probably learned to drive cars at a young age too on the farm. Is that what usually happens?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we learned to drive cars, at a really young age, and we just had a lot of fun, really. I mean, I've always enjoyed sport, so I can remember, starting to play.
So what sports? Yeah.
Tennis, particularly, which I still play, and but we played netball and things like that back in those days. So sport was always fun. We went to a very small primary school. There was actually, I think we had 2 classrooms, which was pretty good. I mean, now the school's closed down, but probably 30 or 40 kids at the school, so pretty small school, but yeah.
Yeah, obviously, out in, as you said, you're away from obviously the nearest town. You have to travel a bit. But yeah, so I guess when you sort of got to your teenage level, teenage life, and did you sort of, did you have to go to boarding school anywhere? Or?
Yeah. I went away. Yeah, we had to go away to boarding school because there was no school close enough. So I went down to Ngātawa down in Martin. Yep. And so that was a pretty big deal in those days because you went home like once a term, I think, and your parents came to visit you another once a term. So yeah, it was pretty isolated, and you didn't have cell phones and all that sort of thing. So I don't know, we probably rang home once every week or every 2 weeks or something. We used to write letters. Yeah, so we still, and my mother was great at writing. She was wonderful at writing me letters. Yeah. And so we used to still have a lot of mail in those days, which seems right now really strange, doesn't it? My mother still writes letters, but I'm useless at it.
So you probably did the odd job on the farm, I assume. You might have helped your parents with various different tasks on the farm.
Yeah.
But, apart from that, what was the first job you ever had outside the farm?
First job outside the farm was, I think one of my summer holidays, because I was studying accounting at university, accounting and marketing. So I worked at an accounting office in Tamariri, which is about 40-minute drive away. Yep.
Okay.
So that was the first job. Yeah.
That's interesting. As you might know, I've been doing accounting for the last 25 years nearly. It's an interesting profession, that's for sure. So yeah, that was your first job. You obviously, did you enjoy that? How did that go?
Yeah, no, I did. I enjoyed it, had fun. I remember, I was the office junior for the summer holidays. I remember I used to have to make the cup of teas. Well, it was great. I was banned from that after a while because I kept breaking the cups. That's the big thing I can do.
But not dropping them. How did you break the cups?
I can't remember. Probably dropping them. Yep, I was pretty useless. But anyway, I ended up working back there a few years later, once I'd finished studying and everything, managing the office. So yeah.
I see you got to the point of sort of an office manager type role there.
Well, that was what, once I'd been overseas and I came back and married the farmer down the road. But anyway, we'll get on to all that later.
Yeah, okay. So that was obviously first experience of jobs. And then I guess, when did it sort of, I guess, take you, I guess, early in life? When did you sort of, I guess, meet Erik for the first, Erik, who Erik's Fish and Chips?
Erik's Fish and Chips is named after. So what happened is I went off to university in Christchurch and studied accounting and marketing there. And then I worked for Unilever, a big company in Wellington, as like a management accountant for a couple of years. And then I got promoted with them and ended up in Hawke's Bay, working in Hawke's Bay. And I was like the youngest ever manager in Hawke's Bay and the first female I'd ever had. And back then, I mean, that was fascinating as well, working for a big English company, Unilever. The management had lunch in a separate dining room back then. I mean, that's only, 35, 40 years ago. It's amazing how things have changed, really, isn't it? And then I can remember it was a wage freeze, and I said, oh, well, if you're not going to pay me anymore, I'm off. I'm going overseas. So basically...
So that was the first time you went overseas?
Oh, no, I went overseas playing hockey when I was at school. Went to Australia, which back in those days was also like a really big deal. To go on a hockey trip to Australia was amazing. And interesting enough, I'm still good friends with girls that I went overseas with in that hockey team, which is pretty great, Wow. I went skiing with a couple of them just a month ago. So that was really great.
But you said, so you went overseas for work then, or?
No, I went overseas to travel and obviously work and travel at the same time. Did a lot of stuff. I went overland all the way from, basically I went overland from Bali to London.
London, okay.
Yep, and a top deck tour, which was great. Got to London and thought, I better do some work. I need some money now. But being an accountant back in those days, it was just really easy to find work. Worked for Ladbrokes Racing, I think it was, in London for quite a bit. And then ended up with a group of mates buying a Land Rover, and we spent 8 months going down through Africa, right from London down to Cape Town. So that was pretty good.
So I don't know too many people that have gone through to Africa. So tell us about that. So that would have been eye-opening.
Oh, it was fantastic. We basically, there was 6 of us in one Land Rover, so we didn't have a lot of space. And a lot of room.
So of all the places in Africa, what's if you were to tell someone where you should go, where would you tell them to go? The whole, just everywhere, or anywhere?
I just loved it. I mean, one of the places that I've always meant to go back to and just haven't managed it is to go back to the Sahara Desert. Was amazing. Just because you're just in the middle of nowhere and there's stars and there's just sand for everywhere, and it was incredible. And I mean, the game parks are just fantastic, seeing all the animals and stuff like that.
The animals would be amazing, I reckon.
The whole thing was just it was fantastic. It was really good. So I don't know if you back there now, but anyway, that's all right.
That's so then obviously went back after that was all done. You went back to New Zealand, or?
That's the time actually. And that's how I met. When I came back to New Zealand, spent a bit of time, came home through the States, met up with a friend there, worked in a ski field over there, as you kind of do. And then I thought, no, it's time to come home now. So I came home and I surprised my parents. And actually, while I was away overseas, Erik actually took one of my sisters out for a bit. This is Erik from Erik's Fish and Chips. And anyway, he made really good friends with my mum, and my sister actually went overseas and she dumped him, and then he made really good friends with my mum, so he just used to call in every now and then. And I was at home and he called in one day and said, and actually we started playing tennis together, and he was actually couldn't play tennis very well, but anyway we had a lot of fun. And so then a few weeks later, he rang me up and he said, I'm going to a duck shooting party, end of duck shooting party. So I don't know if people know, but duck shooting's they have a season in New Zealand, and you start duck shooting and then it goes for about 6 weeks. And I think they still have big parties, not that we do it now, but an end of duck shooting party. And I said, oh, yeah, I'll come along with you if you want, but make sure you look after me because I won't kind of, know anyone or anything like that. So we went off to this end of duck shooting party in Ohura, which is totally in the middle of nowhere. And that was it, really. Yeah, we got on very well from then. And then this was in about, actually, I think end of duck shooting is about May, June, and we got married the next April. So it was all pretty quick.
Well, I suppose once you know sometimes, isn't it?
Exactly, that's it. No mucking around.
No mucking around. So, and what sort of, I guess when you first met Erik, what sort of work was he in at that time?
So Erik was farming in the King Country. Yep. So
that's
basically, we farmed in the King Country. Yep. I did some. I worked for some local accounting firms, and while he was busy farming. Yep. Okay. So that was sheep, and we were sheep and beef farming there.
And do you go back to the King Country? How often would you go back there?
What you mean now?
Yeah.
Oh, not a lot really now. We have every. We've still got a few friends there, so probably once every year or a couple of years. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I actually ended up living, when I first got married, I actually ended up living about 3/4 of an hour from where I grew up, which is amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So then I guess where did the life take you then after that? When you sort of got together, and what were some of the first things that you sort of did? Because I think you, from what I gather and what I'm seeing from you, is you're very sort of, or you and Erik, both sort of, minds that like being in control of your own destiny, like, you like, businesses and getting involved in them, starting them up, that sort of thing. Tell us about what you got involved in.
So basically, the first thing we got involved in, we were farming, and farming returns were really pretty bad. So we started, not that long after we got married, we had a business where we started killing our own stock and selling it directly to the markets in Auckland. Can't even remember what we called that company, to be honest. But actually, it was probably called Aria Farm. Anyway, so we sold meat directly to people in Auckland. Yep, Erik had an old freezer truck, and he used to drive that up to Auckland, sell the meat, and then come home again. Yep. So we did that. Can't remember, for quite a few years, as well as farming at the same time. Yep. So that was pretty good. And then what happened was we farmed in the King Country and Aria for about 15 years. And then we decided to start up Aria Farm, which was a meat processing company. So we ended up selling the farm in the King Country and moving to Hamilton. So in between having, by this stage, we had 3 children, 2 boys. We had Theo, Bjorn, and Heidi. So we've still got those 3 children. So we moved to Hamilton when Heidi was about 5. And we started Aria Farm, which is a meat processing business, which is really well known for its meat strips. So we had lamb, beef, and chicken strips, which were basically 97% meat, no added colour, salt, or preservative. So they were really healthy, and they were just something really quick and easy that you could stir fry, and great for kids. Really, really easy, like a finger kind of food, or you could have them as a finger food. We developed other products from there. We ended up with so we made a stir fry, actually, so the vegetables and the meat all in a bag, and you could stir fry it all together. Wow. And we ended up exporting that to Australia under the home brand, under the Woolworths home brand.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we sort of did that for 15 years, and it was great living in Hamilton, great place to educate our kids. We were all really involved as a family in the, whichever schools the kids went to. They went to Knighton Primary School, Barclay Intermediate, Hillcrest High School. So I in particular coached lots of sports teams, managed teams, was, on all the parents' bits and pieces. So did lots of, very involved in the community. In
Hamilton, yeah.
In Hamilton, where we lived. So
and all the kids grew up there, basically. So
yeah, the kids grew up there and went to school there, and really enjoyed being there and played lots of sports, and had lots of good times.
Yeah. So I guess when was the first time? When was the first time in your life that you actually went to Queenstown for a holiday? Can you remember when that would have been?
The first time I ever came to Queenstown was when I was at university in Christchurch, and we came down with a group of mates for a weekend. Yeah. And I can still remember going up the Skyline gondola for dinner. Yeah.
Still around back in it's been
it was still around back then. Yeah. And one of the things, the main thing I can remember about that, to be honest, was drinking too much. Yeah.
So I guess tell us about the story about getting to Queenstown, as far as moving your life here. The reason that sort of occurred, and I guess what the plan was with you and Erik.
Okay, sure. So what happened is we, after 15 years, we sold our meat processing business to a big meat company, Ansco.
Yep.
And that involved they wanted Erik to work for them in Christchurch for a couple of years, which he did. Obviously, it was quite a big challenge for him working for a company when he'd been his own boss for a long time. And he sort of developed new products for them and worked with them for a couple of years. They were really keen for him to stay on. But what happened is he was developing products for a franchise in Christchurch, and they really wanted us to start a Mexican franchise business in Queenstown. So I started researching this and came down to Queenstown and looked at it, and discovered that in Queenstown that rents were really, really expensive.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to find. And also there was some really good Mexican food down here already. And also franchises didn't really work down here because rents were so expensive. It just kind of, the whole thing kind of didn't add up. And at this stage, our daughter was living in Queenstown. She'd been here for quite a long time. And she said to us, Mum and Dad, there's no fish and chip shop in the centre of town. And just as mad as we are, we thought, oh, that's a good idea. There's no fish and chip shop. And she was working for Dart River at that stage as a fun yak guide. And people always said to her, well, where can I buy fish and chips? Because it's just part of the Kiwi culture, basically. So that's how Erik's Fish and Chips began. So we kind of came up with the idea in about July of the year, and then opened in December. And obviously it was really difficult to get, space was really difficult.
So was that 2014 or 2015?
2015 it was.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. So what happened there was we actually, Ben, who's now my son-in-law, he was leasing a bit of dirt where we are now, basically for his Kiwi sport business, Pedal Queenstown, which is on the beach. So we got hold of those guys and we said, well, how about if we put a food trailer there? And they said, oh, great idea. So we've got a landlord from Dunedin, and basically we've been there ever since. So we kind of thought that if we put a trailer there, it was a good test. And if it didn't work, then, we could just pull the trailer off again, and we hadn't spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars setting up a business.
So as I said, sharing the website there, that's if anyone wants to have a go and have a bit of a look at Erik's Fish and Chips, that's the website there. So very good website. So that's how it all started. And obviously it was a bit of a gap in the market in Queenstown at the time. There wasn't really any fish and chip shops, so obviously it made sense to set one up, and it's obviously been very successful from when it first opened.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we opened on the 1st of December, which is, thinking back about now is a bit nuts, really, because you have no idea what you're getting yourself in for and how busy it's going to be. And obviously, when you open any new business, everyone wants to come and try it, Yeah. And we basically had, one of my only regrets really is I didn't take a photo after the first night of being in business, because the whole trailer was just covered in flour from one end to the other. It was pretty chaotic. But anyway, we just got on with it as we do. As you're probably aware, we do love a challenge. and it's great to have a challenge in life. So we're here, we've got this business, we start employing staff, and we just get going from the start, really. We were lucky that we'd owned lots of small businesses before, and one of the things that we knew that we had to just continually improve the way we did things. So basically we talked to people, our staff at the end of the day, and we say, look, this is what's happened today, how can we do things better tomorrow? So we opened on the 1st of December. By Christmas time, we had our first run of batter commercially produced in Dunedin already. So we got that delivered in, 18K boxes. Because obviously, so the big thing about Erik's Fish and Chips since developing it is that we're 100%, we're actually 100% gluten free. Yeah, so our batter completely gluten free. So it's made, of rice flour mainly, which is very fine, so dust and stuff goes everywhere, and it comes in big 25-kilo bags, so it was pretty difficult to be mixing it up in a small sort of, basically in a 6x3 meter trailer. So so it's good to so we did that really quickly. We started off doing crumb fish to begin with. We realized there wasn't much demand for it, and it was a complete hassle, having crumb fish, so we just got rid of that off the menu straight away. So we just made, changes continually all the time.
Excellent, that's great. And then, it's a great story, and obviously it's good to, you've got a lot of stuff that you stand for there, which is really, really good. Erik's Reading Challenge, all these different things. Obviously, pretty good rating on TripAdvisor. And also then you obviously opened up a store over at Wanaka as well. That's obviously, to get to that sort of stage, you want to open in a different location. There must be a reason for that to happen as well. So what sort of prompted, I guess, opening another store over in Wanaka?
Well, we opened another one in Queenstown. So we had one in the centre of town, which is not actually there now, and we opened one out at 5 Mile out that way at the there was a garden centre out there, and we opened that, and that went off with a hiss and a roar. Unfortunately, that bit of land got sold from underneath us. It's where Bunnings is now, and we couldn't really find anything else that kind of suited us out that way. So, and we decided that rather than open just to keep two, we'd move to Wanaka. So we kind of moved that one to Wanaka, which has been a great success. It's been, really great in Wanaka.
Excellent. Yeah, so obviously I've just had a look at the menu before. Very sort of interesting, some stuff on there. Like I noticed you've got there's a few things there. Obviously some great fish. I love monkfish, blue cod and hoki. What's your favourite type of fish yourself?
Look, I am very, very happy with a piece of hoki, to be honest. A lot of people say that, they think, I want to have, and look, blue cod's great, but I say to people, I love blue cod, but it's very expensive, we're selling blue cod for $10.50 a piece, but it's really, really expensive to buy. But it is great that it's sustainably fished. So we've got to look after our fishing supplies. So, really happy to support that. And we get all our fish through Harbour Fish in Dunedin, who have just supported us through, thick and thin, and especially in the last year, they've just been great. Excellent.
And some of these interesting desserts, deep fried kiwi fruit, that's something I've never had.
Yeah.
I've had deep fried banana before, deep fried pineapple rings, but tell us about deep fried kiwi fruit.
So deep fried kiwi fruit is, it's kind of one of the things that we're known for. And quite often people will just come and buy a deep fried kiwi fruit. And it is absolutely delicious. It's because you've got the sour we use the green kiwi fruit, the sour of the kiwi fruit, and then we dust it in cinnamon and sugar. It's got a sweet and sour thing. And people just absolutely love it. It's been a great sort of success, and we've had a lot of fun around it. We came up with the idea. Erik always says that we wanted something very traditionally Kiwi, but when we were developing the menu and everything, obviously before we had Erik's Fish and Chips, we didn't even own a deep fryer. So we bought one of those little wee deep fryers, and we're experimenting in Christchurch, and we'd have people around for dinner and we'd try all these different things. Well, to be honest, one night we had quite a few wines and we started frying the fruit bowl, and we deep fried some strawberries. So that's how we came up with deep fried kiwi fruit, because we deep fried it, and we actually did it with the skin on as well.
Yeah.
And it was just so delicious that we thought, oh, this has got to be a winner. Yeah, so that's where the deep fried kiwi fruit comes from. And, it's been a wonderful success.
What seems to be a fairly popular staple around town, and a cauliflower bites. I mean, a lot of these places seem to have it. Why do you think that's so popular that everyone, it seems to be on a lot of menus? And what do you like cauliflower bites? And you've got like some sort of cheese and gravy range, which is sort of mouth-watering to think about.
The cauliflower bites are absolutely delicious. And it's basically just a bit of cauliflower deep fried, but they just, because it goes, when you deep fry it, it goes all creamy inside, and it just, they are to die for. Yeah. And then if you put cheese and curry and cheese and, curry or gravy on top of the cauliflower, I mean, that's just like an old cauliflower cheese. We grew up with cauliflower cheese, don't we? So it is absolutely, they are just, they are really, really, really good. And we've actually just this week, in fact, you're the first person that I've told this, we've now got vegan cauliflower cheese and gravy. So we're now starting to sell vegan cheese as well, because we're finding that's a really big demand in the marketplace. Yeah, people are really wanting to, have as many vegan products. So our gravy was already vegan, so we've now got vegan cheese as well.
Yeah, so it looks like you do deliveries as well as pickups. So that's at the moment. So we've had the last 18 months have been tough for a lot of, businesses in Queenstown, and especially when it comes to tourism, and also, some of the food places have found it hard from time to time, especially with the restrictions at level 4, level 3, all these different things, having to change the way they do things over the last 18 months. I mean, I guess how's the last 18 months affected things for Erik's Fish and Chips?
Oh, look, Tim, I'm not going to hide the fact it's been really, really tough, because basically before COVID, 80% of our customers, because we've done customer research, sheets where 80% of our customers were from out of town, and probably 60% of those were from overseas. So, basically you've lost 60% of your customers overnight. So it's been really tough to, adapt to that. It's been really hard, and just to get used to it. And I think, last year you just kind of went through, we had the wage subsidy for a long time, and then you're thinking, oh, we're coming out of it. But I personally found it really tough. I'm coping with it really well now, but last year, sort of by November, you start to get pretty worn out, really, just because you're always trying to do things, differently and try and make it work, and you think, God, this is the new reality. So it certainly it hasn't been easy. And I think now, to be honest, I think that this year is going to be we're in for a really tough time now, at least till Christmas, because we all kind of got geared up, firstly for Australians.
The bubble,
The bubble was great, and Australians love, fish and chips. And then so we lost the Australians. We lost the Australians just before the Australian school holidays. And now we've lost Auckland. So we've really lost our two big markets. And the way Auckland's looking, we mightn't get them back till Christmas. You don't know, do you? Yeah,
no, that's right. Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen. It's been really, really tough, and it's a bit of a kick in the guts that we had this bubble open, and all of a sudden really just shut. And it really, and it's like, okay, it's a race to try to get everyone vaccinated now. That's what it seems to be like. We're racing to get 80% vaccinated, and that might take till Christmas anyway. So,
it's going to take a while, isn't it? I'm fully vaccinated, so that feels good.
No, I know I got my appointment this month. My wife's fully vaccinated, but it's it's something that needs to happen, and you got to book it, your time in and all that sort of stuff. So I guess Queen, obviously we've spoken about the the business side of coming to Queenstown, and I guess the experiences and Erik's Fish and Chips, how it all sort of started, how that sort of how successful it's been. What other things about Queenstown do you, I guess, like when it comes to living here, and whereabouts would you, as far as picking the pick of all the places to live, where do you think the best place to live in Queenstown is?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I mean, just to go backwards a bit, always
Yes.
like we lived in Hamilton, our whole family's passionate about skiing. So we just love skiing, and we spend a lot of time skiing at Mount Ruapehu. So our vision was sort of once the kids left school that we'd always kind of keep moving sort of south. And what happened just to explain about our move south was, like, obviously we had a couple of years in Christchurch. For various reasons, our children all ended up in Queenstown, which was really exciting. So we thought, well, why not go here? We love skiing. We want to be, in Queenstown. So we just love Queenstown. We love skiing. We do first tracks up at Coronet Peak. That's been the biggest challenge in this last lockdown, is watching the snow melt. It's the biggest first world problem ever. But yeah, so we just love skiing. We love boating, getting out on the lake. I'm enjoying that. We love the rivers. We love camping. I love walking. So it's just a beautiful place to live, and we're really, really lucky. One of our sons lives in Wanaka, and we've got 2 children living in Queenstown. And the very exciting news is both my daughter and daughter-in-law are about to have babies in the next 6 weeks.
Wow.
So that's pretty exciting, really. So I'm going to be a grandmother as well. So
this will be the first time being a grandmother?
First time being a grandmother, yep. Wow. And I'm getting 2 within 6 weeks. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah.
That's very exciting. Very exciting stuff. Excellent.
Yeah. So it's just a lovely place to live, isn't it? It's just beautiful.
I mean, that's hence, why I sort of moved here. It's 2 days ago was only 2 days ago was when I got on that plane with all the stuff, in transit and coming from Brisbane to Queenstown. So it's only just clicked a year since that's happened. So it's been a great decision to move here. That's for sure. So no, it's been really good. I guess to chat to you about your story and stuff like that. Really great menu. I'm looking forward. I'm going to have to order something to pick up over the weekend, I think, just to try some of these different types of fish.
Sounds great. You'll have to try one of our I'll tell you what, we've got something else is brand new, Tim, to try. We've just developed. The staff are having a great time at the moment. I said, come up with some new ideas, will you? So they've got mushy pea balls.
Yes, I read about that. Mushy pea balls. So that's deep fried, you said, right? Yeah,
deep fried. So do you know what mushy peas are?
Yeah, that's like you just mush up the peas and
Yeah, but we do. So mushy peas are a really English, very, very English thing. So we actually get the marifat peas that they.
I might have to add that to the order as well.
Yeah, they export to England, and then we mash them up. And the mushy pea balls are just great. You need a bit of sweet chili sauce, and they're just great. And then we've always been quite, one of our things in Queenstown is that we always want to get behind the community, and that's why we developed like Erik's reading challenge, for example. So I started that back in 2019, but it was kind of a very manual kind of system then. And then basically last year during lockdown, I put it online so that kids could get a treat during lockdown.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And it's gone really well this time. So all the kids have to do is they have to read 5 chapter books. And then they enter online, and then they get a voucher for a free kids meal at Erik's Fish and Chips. Yeah. So, and then I've got wonderful prizes from all sorts of local companies. So we draw out prizes all the time. They can win iFly vouchers, Wastebuster vouchers, all sorts of different things. It's just
look at all the people that are supporting that. That's amazing.
Yeah, got really, really good support from a lot of people. And it really makes me happy when you get support from parents and teachers as well. Yeah. So Gecko Press, which is a New Zealand book publisher, they're right behind it, and they give us books and different things to get away. So it's great.
Wow, that's really good.
So that's still going. And even in this year, you know, now we've just had a latest lockdown. I push it out there, and lots of kids are entering again as well. So it's really good.
No, that sounds like it's fun and gets a lot of the kids involved, and then they hopefully they can, you know, that sort of tie that into how you guys have supported it, and you know
yeah.
Well, I think it's you know,
really important.
We'll get our fish and chips.
Yeah, when you live in a local community, well, that's my personal philosophy. It's just with all my marketing and all sorts of stuff, is always you want to be part of the local community that you live in, you know, and like, so when there's events coming up like Luma Lights and stuff like that, we always give it a big push on social media and stuff like that. You know, when there's like Pride Week, we always support that. We've got a great potato spiral at the moment. We've got a multicolored potato spiral we're selling, you know, and it's a pity, you know, when we don't have it, you know, we miss events like this, obviously due to COVID, but those events are what makes Queenstown, you know, it gives it a really fun kind of vibe. It's great. Yeah. And it you know, we all get excited when it comes back like this at the moment, but it's going to take time, but it will rebuild to the wonderful place that it is.
So as far as you said, you're a bit of a skier yourself. You've been skiing this season?
Oh yeah, I've been skiing lots this season, and the good news is we had great powder skiing the morning, and I went skiing the morning before we went into lockdown, so that was good. Yeah. Well, obviously the business liaises well to skiing, so we do first tracks and start skiing at 8 o'clock at Coronet Peak, and sometimes we just ski for an hour or two and then come home. Yeah, so it's wonderful, and the kids have all got first tracks as well, so we have a lot of fun skiing together.
Now that's good. Just a little bit of a hint there about if you're going up the mountain, those first tracks, you get up there early and get into it, I think. So hopefully we get to go up there a few more times before the season's over. That's what we really hope.
Yeah, and do you do quite a bit of skiing, Tim?
I'm a snowboarder, but
okay. Well, that's
only fairly new though at this. I'm fairly much a novice, but I've been up there 4 or 5 times. I think 4 or 5 times. I'm getting better at it. So, getting out of the practice area and trying to get up a little bit, up the mountain a bit. It's very close, 10-minute drive from here to the top Coronet Peak. So it's pretty easy and quick. I haven't been to the Remarks yet this season, but I might try to get there as well. So that's pretty good. But I hopefully we can get up there, and hopefully it's maybe this time next week it's open if any luck. So.
Yeah, I think hopefully we should go to level 2 and it should open. And I mean, Coronet and Remarks, you know, they're quite good even in level 2 because they've both got these big 6-seater chairlifts. Yeah. You know, and they just kind of move the people through. And Remarks, hopefully the snow will last a bit. You know, usually the snow lasts a bit longer in Remarks, so hopefully we can have some good skiing there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And obviously, because you go to Wanaka, you've been to Cardrona this season as well? I've been up there.
I haven't been to Cardrona and Treble Cone this season, but did go to Cardrona and Treble Cone a lot last year. And our staff, we always have a staff skiing day at Cardrona, which we were actually about to go on when we went into lockdown. So hopefully that'll still be able to happen in September sometime. But I also really enjoy skiing up around Tekapo and that area. You know, there's Round Hill, Dobson, all those little fields are a lot of fun as well.
So I guess the other thing just to finish up on is what are the hours that you can get? You can go to Erik's Fish and Chips and get a pickup, or that sort of thing over the coming days.
So you can get a pickup anytime from 12 to 8:30, and we've got a great 12 p.m. to 8:30, and we've got a really good online ordering system. We've had online ordering right from when we started. It's not just for COVID, but it's really good, quick and easy to use. It's completely contactless. And the great thing with our online ordering system, we really do reward the locals with it as well. So if you order online, once you spend $100 in total. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Then you get $10 off your next order.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. So it's a 10% discount basically once you spend $100. So we find people love that.
That's a locals thing. That's what I love about this place. Is there a lot of local establishments that participate in giving you either 10% rewards, 10% discount. It's being a local in this area. You do feel good about going to the pub or to these different breweries or different places and getting that locals price, I guess. Which is really, really good. So no, I'm really sort of glad that I've got you on the podcast. I think it's a good story. I think what you stand for, is really, really good as well. And I can see why Erik's Fish and Chips is really popular around Queenstown. So any final words or thoughts before we sort of wrap things up?
No, it's been great to talk to you, Tim. And it's actually really good to go through your life and have a chat about it. And I've really enjoyed the process. It's been really good.
I think that's what a lot of the guests, I think it's about that. And people, I know the focus is on you a little bit and maybe the business, and maybe a little bit of Erik, but with this podcast. But I think it's a good sort of way of format, and it's something you can sort of say, yep, I can hang my hat on that a little bit and say, sort of go down memory lane a little bit, and I can work out what I got up to and what I did. So so that's great. No, thank you very, very much. You have a great rest of the Friday and the weekend. I'll definitely try to get an order in over the weekend now, and drop into town and pick it up perhaps or something like that.
Well, also, you could even have, with social distancing, you could go and look what a beautiful day it is today. You can go and sit on the beach and eat your fish and chips.
That's exactly right. That's right.
In your bubble. There's plenty of room on the beach.
Yeah, that's what I do. I've been a little bit lazy. I wanted to get into town the last few days. I wanted to get up early and get into town and go for a bit of a walk, because I like to do that. But I don't know, just feeling a little bit tired and whatnot. A bit lazy probably, but I do need to do it, and I probably will do it over the weekend, I'd say. So.
Well, walking, you've got the Queenstown Gardens, and walking around the Queenstown Gardens is stunning. Yeah, it's really good.
Stunning, beautiful place, and a lot you can sort of walk around in. And I just love walking up Queenstown Hill as well. That's just
it's great, isn't it?
Going up the gondola is always just good to get some views, sort of all the locals. And we can probably keep talking, but anyway, it's been great to have you on the podcast, and we'll get this uploaded over the course of 24 hours. And you can share it around to your network on the different socials, whether it's Facebook, whether it's something else. We'll get it up there and share it around, and it's been really good to get this episode number 20. That's been Arndt from Erik's Fish and Chips. I'll see you later.
See you later, Tim. Great to talk to you. Have a wonderful day and enjoy those fish and chips.
I certainly will. Thanks. Bye.